Michael Cole tonight on Raw was promoting the fact that this Thursday, WWE is having its WrestleMania 40 kickoff. They're having a special kickoff event in Las Vegas, not in Philadelphia. And they're going to have The Rock, they're going to have Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. They're all going to be there. And they were really selling it tonight that it's not official yet, but are we going to get Roman Reigns against The Rock? Are we going to have Cody Rhodes choosing Seth Rollins? It's a challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. After watching this show tonight, I sat here and it felt to me, it truly felt like this is 2014 all over again. And I don't mean that to praise WWE for some wonderful creative decision that they made, because let us not forget that what happened in 2014 happened in spite of their fuck up. It happened in spite of their creative screw up in the Daniel Bryan storyline. But in the end, the thing that matters most, they gave us what we wanted. They did the right thing, and we ended up with this great, memorable, legendary moment to close out WrestleMania that year. History feels a little bit like it's repeating itself now with Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and The Rock. Or maybe that's just me hoping that history feels like it's repeating itself. Dave Meltzer had a report last night, and again, you can take it or leave it. I know people are very up and down when it comes to reports from Meltzer, but Meltzer had a report up saying that when The Rock was appointed at the beginning of last month to the TKO Board of Directors, part of the deal, we know, was that he was given ownership of the Rock name. So he now owns it, He can call himself The Rock. It's his. It belongs to him. And he was also given $30 million worth of stock in the company. And he also reported that as part of that deal, The Rock was to get a match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Now, this is something that was never brought up. It's been a month. We're only first hearing about this now. That according to him, as part of that deal, this match between Rock and Roman was part of the package, which would indicate that they had knowledge of the fact that it was going to be The Rock against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 well in advance of the Royal Rumble. And you read a report like that, you hear something like that, and it makes you scratch your head. Because if WWE, if we are to believe what he is feeding us, if we are to believe what is being reported now, that would indicate that they went into the Royal Rumble and had Cody Rhodes win the men's Royal Rumble match knowing that The Rock was going to WrestleMania to face off with Roman Reigns. It doesn't make any sense. And in fact, in his report, this is my favorite part of the entire thing, Meltzer says in the report that on the question of why have Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble if the plan was to do The Rock and Roman Reigns, he said he doesn't have an answer. He hasn't been able to get an answer from anybody to that question. Dave, let me tell you something. The reason that you can't get an answer to that question is because there is no logical answer to that question. Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. That's why. You don't even need to ask the question. The question is pointless because it doesn't make sense. Even if you believe the notion that WWE, and he mentioned this in his report too, if you believe this notion that's been going around all day long, well, they did this on purpose. WWE knew exactly what was coming when they did what they did on Friday night. They knew what the reaction was going to be. They knew, right? They knew what the reaction was going to be. The Rock set himself up. We are supposed to believe that The Rock set himself up to be flamed by the entire world. And again, not everybody is pissed off that The Rock is coming back and potentially facing Roman Reigns, but the reaction has been fierce on social media since Friday night. There have been articles in mainstream media about this. There was a whole article on ESPN.com about this. You think that The Rock was going to come back and tease his first match? How many years has it been since he's had a match? With the expectation that he was going to get booed, with the expectation that crowds were going to come to these shows and chant Rocky sucks. You think his ego wanted that? You think his ego, The Rock, I forgot who it was. Somebody said to me, I was having a conversation with somebody about this, a friend, because a lot of people have been talking about this. And people have been asking me because they know I talk about it because I do a show. And they said, The Rock, he's not a full-time guy or anything like that. He hasn't wrestled in a number of years. The Rock he's not even a wrestler. He's a brand. That's what he is at this point. And it's all about protecting his brand and making himself out to look as best as he can possibly look. Yeah, I even made the comment the other day on the podcast. Yesterday, I said, this is a guy, and it's well known, that has it written into his contracts when he does a movie that he can't lose a fight. And they have to have it written out how many punches and kicks he's there to take at a fight scene. He can't lose a fight. I mean, this is a man that cares about his image. This is a man who cares about how he is portrayed. There was a whole controversy last year, if you remember the whole thing with The Rock and Oprah Winfrey, with the fire, the Hawaii fires, and there was a whole backlash against him there. I don't need to get into that whole controversy. The Black Adam stuff. You know, his ego has been bruised a time or two, but he's very, very careful to craft a certain image of himself. And I just cannot sit here and buy into this notion that The Rock would willingly come back knowing that there was a very good chance that the fans were going to rebel at a time when they wanted somebody else against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. The Rock chooses now to come back knowing that the people potentially are going to boo him out of the building, that the people are not going to react as if he is some kind of wrestling god. You had thousands of people in the building tonight chanting, Rocky sucks, at the beginning of the show. Michael Cole said it best on commentary. Is in 1996 again? We haven't heard that chant in a very long time. I cannot sit here and fathom the idea that this is exactly what The Rock intended. This is exactly what WWE intended. But we'll hear a lot of people saying that that'll become the narrative now if they end up doing the right thing. In my mind, if they end up doing the right thing, great. It's no different in that way than 2014. When all is said and done, and it remains to be seen exactly what they are going to do at this press conference on Thursday, which we'll talk about. However this ends up, if it ends up with Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns in some form or fashion at WrestleMania, and he goes to WrestleMania and he avenges the loss from last year and he finishes his story, all is forgiven. It's exactly what happened 10 years ago. They had a different idea in mind. They had to be dragged kicking and screaming. Punk left the company. It was a whole confluence of circumstances that led to what should have been the easiest decision in the world from day one. They took the long way. They took the scenic route to get to their ultimate destination. It appears that's what they're doing now. They're not going to make this easy. They're taking the long way. They're taking the convoluted way to hopefully get to the right destination. And it remains to be seen if they are, in fact, going to get to the right destination. We just don't know. But even if you believe that their goal here was to turn Cody Rhodes into the next Daniel Bryan, which is something else that was in that report from earlier today, I feel like there's a very important difference that people are not talking about. It's a very important distinction between the two. And I want you to pay very close attention when I say this, because this should be apparent to anybody, but I don't see anybody talking about this. Daniel Bryan, if you remember that storyline, Daniel Bryan had everything taken away from him. He had everything taken away from him by the Authority. He won the championship at SummerSlam. He immediately lost the championship at SummerSlam. He got screwed over by Triple H and Randy Orton. And they made him fight and fight and fight for months. They even took that detour with him and the Wyatt family. He had everything taken away from him by the Authority. Cody Rhodes had nothing taken away from him. Cody Rhodes walked out on television on Friday night and he gave it away. That's the difference. Whatever happens from this point on, wherever this takes us, it doesn't erase what happened on Friday night. It doesn't erase the idiocy of what we heard and what we saw on SmackDown when Cody Rhodes came out to the ring. A week, not even a week, after winning the Royal Rumble. And he told Roman Reigns, I'm coming for you and I'm coming for that title, but not at WrestleMania. Even though the winner of the Royal Rumble goes to WrestleMania to challenge for the title of his choosing, not at WrestleMania. Those were his words. And then he gave it away. He took a back seat seemingly to The Rock. Those were his words. That's not something that you just erase. But that's the biggest difference between a Daniel Bryan 10 years ago and Cody Rhodes that we see now in WWE. Daniel Bryan was kept out of the Royal Rumble in 2014. He should have won the entire thing, as hot as he was at that time. He wasn't even in the damn match. Cody Rhodes is coming off back-to-back Royal Rumble wins. The first man in over 25 years to win 2 consecutive Battle Royals. The Royal Rumble back-to-back. Daniel Bryan was the ultimate underdog. Cody Rhodes may be a lot of things, but can you really say that Cody Rhodes is an underdog? I mean, look, I like Cody, but let's be honest here. I mean, the guy's on the cover of 2K24. The guy wins back-to-back Royal Rumbles, right? He led his team to victory in War Games. Can we really call Cody Rhodes an underdog? I don't think that's a word that people would use for Cody Rhodes, even if they want to try to portray him as that. So, again, there are a lot of differences between the two. It's laughable to me when I see people trying to compare them, or even Meltzer mentioning that in their mind, it's going to be the new Daniel Bryan. You know, this is a man who was already over. This is a man who didn't need that little extra boost to get people to buy into him as a title contender. That's what the whole thing with Daniel Bryan was, right? He's a goat. He looks like a billy goat, right? He's too small to be taken seriously as a world champion. I haven't heard anybody saying stuff like that about Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was a believable challenger when he went into WrestleMania 39, and he would be a believable challenger going into WrestleMania 40. But on Raw tonight, you watch this show, and they are clearly leaning into the backlash. To their credit, they didn't try to mute the crowd. They didn't try to censor the crowd in any way. They didn't ignore it. I see different conflicting reports about whether or not they actually handed out all of those "We Want Cody" signs. I'm sure some fans brought signs of their own. They may have been distributing the signs themselves. I don't know. There are plenty of "We Want Cody" and "We Want Cody" hashtag signs in the crowd tonight. But they were leaning into it. Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, I mean, they incorporated it into the show tonight. They talked about how "We Want Cody" has been trending on social media now for the last 72 hours. It's been the talk of the world, the talk of the wrestling world. And Cody may yet get to finish his story at WrestleMania. It gave me some hope. It gave me some hope that at the end of all this, they'll end up doing the right thing and going with the story they should have gone with from the very beginning. And that Cody Rhodes will go to WrestleMania and he will get that match with Roman Reigns. Even if The Rock is involved. Even if The Rock is involved and they make it a triple threat match. And this does not need to be a triple threat match. It doesn't. It does not need The Rock. It could just be Cody and Roman one-on-one. The story tells itself. He lost last year. He got screwed over. He had to work his way back. He had to beat Brock Lesnar all those times. He had this little side feud with Nakamura. He had to go and outlast 29 other men for the second straight time, and he did it. And he pointed up at Roman Reigns. And now you got the Rocky statue on the steps in Philadelphia, right? WrestleMania comes to Philly. Here's the comeback story for Cody Rhodes. Story sells itself, but if it's a triple threat match with The Rock, then so be it. So even if that's the case, even if it becomes a case where Rock and Roman go on night one and we get Cody and Roman on night two. You get Rock and Roman on night one, Roman goes over. Rock gets to come back out on night two and play hero when he comes out and fights off the bloodline, makes it a fair fight. Cody goes on to beat Roman, finishes the story, becomes the undisputed champion. Everybody's happy. Rock comes out of this looking great because he fights off Jimmy, he fights off Solo, he makes sure that what happened to this man last year, what's happened to every man for 3.5 years now, does not happen again here at WrestleMania 40. And everybody gets to go home happy. The worst thing that this company could do is demote Cody, and that's exactly what it is. If Cody Rhodes is in any match other than against Roman Reigns in some form at WrestleMania 40, it is a demotion. And that includes the World Heavyweight title that they had Roman Reigns go out there on Friday night and absolutely fucking bury beneath the depths of the earth on SmackDown. We talk about people being buried 6 feet under, forget 6 feet. They took that World Heavyweight Championship, my God, the fucking Cloverfield monster wasn't dwelling on the bottom of the sea that deep down where the World Heavyweight title was buried on SmackDown on Friday night. Cody Rhodes is going to go for the World Heavyweight title. He's going to go for the world title against the man he already beat 3 times. A title that he has basically, in the kindest, most polite way, acknowledged that he really doesn't give a shit about. He didn't come back to the company for that belt. In fact, when he came back to the company, that belt didn't even exist. It's a demotion. Would it be a great match? Hey, their first 3 matches were great. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a great match, but that's not the point. Anything other than that, for Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania this year, is a demotion. And if they go with Rock and Roman, one thing that has become very clear for all the people who are excited about seeing that match and they want to see Rock and Roman, and then they've got their fans who have been dying to see that match for years. If they do that, it is going to be a disaster. It is going to be a disaster in Philadelphia. It could very well be a WrestleMania 20 situation with Goldberg and Brock all over again. The only difference is this will be a stadium with 50 or 60,000 people in it. That was Madison Square Garden with 20. Are you going to get all 50,000 people to boo these two men out of the building? I don't know, but they were pretty vocal tonight, and this was only the first show since SmackDown on Friday night. Are you really willing to take that chance? To piss off your audience so much that you take what should be a dream match to some people? I'm not saying Rock and Roman isn't a big match that doesn't have some appeal. Are you really willing to A, piss off most of your fan base, and B, do this other match and potentially ruin that match by not getting the desired crowd reaction? Because really what you're doing is you're ruining two matches. You're not just ruining one. You're potentially taking Rock and Roman, which should feel like a big special thing, and you're fucking that up too. Because you will have a segment of the audience that is going to want to hijack that thing. And that is not what The Rock wants. That is not what Roman Reigns wants. That is not what Triple H wants. That's not what anybody wants. So that would be the worst thing that they could do. And it was pretty clear to me, after this show tonight, they cannot go forward with that as a match, if that in fact was the idea. If that's why Rock came and joined the board and they promised him this, or he wanted to have the match, and he thinks that that's what they're going to do in Philadelphia, it's going to be a long night at the office for The Rock. Their dumb decision on Friday night has led to something here that could legitimately be compelling. It could be. We saw glimpses of that tonight with the fan support for Cody when he came out at the beginning of the show. It could lead to something, if they play their cards right, compelling on television. But again, I refuse to believe that when he signed on for this, that Rock knew that the reaction to him was going to be this vicious. Because I just don't know that his ego would allow it. After all this time away, I mean, he should be back as the conquering hero. That's what he was when he came out to confront Jinder Mahal last month on TV. Right? He was Captain America out there. This kickoff event is very important on Thursday. This kickoff event that they are having in Las Vegas is going to tell the tale. We are going to get a lot of answers come Thursday as to which direction this whole situation is going to be going in. And I said this on Twitter yesterday, and I'll say it again here. Maybe it's me just being overly optimistic or delusional about this, but I would like to think that one way to get out of this, and it's not perfect, but one way to get out of this at this press conference on Thursday, it's in Las Vegas. Why is it in Las Vegas and not Philadelphia? Philadelphia is the site of WrestleMania this year. Why is it not in Philadelphia? Maybe it's in Las Vegas because they're going to make a big announcement. And maybe that announcement is going to be that WrestleMania 41 in 2025 is going to be in Las Vegas. There's been talk about Allegiant Stadium, which is where SummerSlam was held. I believe it was last year. Or was it last year or the year before? It might have been the year before. But they had SummerSlam there, that WrestleMania might be coming there. And not only is WrestleMania maybe going to come to Vegas, but you can headline WrestleMania in Las Vegas with The Rock against Roman Reigns. And you could do a year-long proper build to Rock and Roman, and it doesn't even need the title. Because Rock has been going around talking about playing the long game. I'm a long gamer, he says. Right? He looks at the big picture. He's a long gamer. I don't see what is so long game about him showing up and really with 2 months' notice, swooping in, stealing someone else's match, and wrestling Roman Reigns on 2 months' notice at WrestleMania this year. Why? Because it's a nice round number? Because it's number 40? You could have done it at 39. You could have done it at 38. You chose not to. Doesn't have to be at 40. You can build to 41. Instead of worming your way into a situation that you frankly have no business being in. And he could come out there and tell Cody at the press conference, and he could become the big baby face and say, Cody, I appreciate what you tried to do for me or what you thought was going on here, but this is your story to tell right now, not mine. And he puts his full support behind Cody Rhodes, and Cody says, on second thought, Roman, I'll see you at WrestleMania. It's tough because Cody specifically went out there and said the other day, I will beat you for that belt, but not at WrestleMania. So again, it looks like they're pivoting, they're changing their mind, but I would like to think in a perfect world that that is what things are being set up for at this press conference in Vegas on Thursday. But we don't know. We don't know what they're going to do. They could shoot some kind of angle there. They kind of muddy the waters a little bit at the end of Raw tonight because After Cody Rhodes beat Nakamura in a bull rope match, Drew McIntyre dropped Cody Rhodes like a bad habit. And now they want you to think, well, maybe they are going to have Cody involved in the World Heavyweight title picture. Maybe we are going to get a triple threat match for the title at WrestleMania, but it's not going to be the triple threat match for the title that we're all hoping. Anything other than Cody and Roman involved with each other at WrestleMania is a fail. And look, if we're all being worked and it comes out that this was all part of the plan, I think it's actually a pretty fucking stupid plan, especially after that segment on Friday. There's always the possibility. But I watched this show tonight. I see what's going on here. They're keeping their options open. If Rock went out there on Friday and got that kind of reaction and everybody online was super, super excited to see that match, they wouldn't be doing this right now. They heard the reaction. They monitored the reaction all weekend. They realized, I think, that they fucked up. And now they're trying to figure out, how can we take something that we screwed up and turn it into something special? Turn it into gold. What can we do? There's still time to fix this. If Rock has to be involved, fine. He could triple threat, make him a referee. There's any number of things you could do. But WWE, what they did on Friday was a mistake. And now they have a chance to correct that mistake. The rest of this show tonight was an absolute bore. Except they had a fatal four-way match. The tag team match, they had DIY, they had the Creeds, they had Imperium, they had the New Day. I thought that was pretty good. Outside of that, everything else on this show, pretty much, was just a fucking snooze fest. So I don't know what this show was, but in a way, the show was kind of hijacked by this whole Roman Rock Cody situation. It really was all built around that and what's Cody going to do. Everything else, honestly, just felt kind of insignificant. This was a very boring episode of Raw otherwise. But let's talk about this, and we'll talk more about the Cody stuff, because this is your Monday Night Raw review. It is February 5th, 2024. I am the Solomonster. I will tell you that it was 36 years ago today. Live on NBC, on the main event, Hulk Hogan's first reign as WWF Champion came to an end after 1,474 days at the hands of Andre the Giant and one crooked referee, the evil twin. I could not care any less, by the way, if Roman Reigns surpasses the 1,474 days that Hulk Hogan spent as the WWF Champion. And I promise you that most fans don't give a shit either. Like and subscribe. Man, you guys have been really bumping up the sub count on this channel over the last 72 hours. So I thank you for that. We are well on our way. So hit that subscribe button. 400 likes is the minimum for us to be the booker later on this stream. But the way you guys have been killing it lately, I mean, we should easily do that. I mean, that we can do better than that. So 400 is the goal. Super chats are open. You'll see them popping up on your screen. We got some new ones. Get them on in. What do you think is going to happen at the press conference on Thursday? How would you handle this situation? Everybody and their mother and their stepmother has been coming up with different scenarios and different pitches for how WWE can course correct and can fix this and what they can do in Vegas on Thursday. They could have Solo Sikoa up on the dais. He could take his thumb and he could Samoan spike the Rock. He could drop an anvil on top of the Rock's head, and then Cody has to step in and take the Rock's place. Everybody's been coming up with different scenarios, so let me know what you think is going to happen. What would you do? Let's talk about Little Brother. Little Brother opened the show tonight. He kicked off Monday Night Raw with his loser bracket title, and that's according to Roman Reigns. Don't look at me. Seth Rollins had a brace on his injured knee, but he had a big smile on his face. Rollins welcomed the fans to Monday Night Rollins. He said he smells what's cooking after SmackDown on Friday night, which got boos from the crowd. And then we got chants of "We want Cody." So right from the get-go here, it begins. I had people who were sending me tweets, video clips from the arena tonight before they even went live. They were showing highlights of what happened on SmackDown on Friday night. Loud boos from the crowd in St. Louis. just to the replay of what happened at the end of the show on Friday night. Loud boos. So Rollins looked to the crowd. He says, I sense that you guys want Cody. And he said that he had good news for them. He wanted Cody too. He said that he has more questions than answers coming out of SmackDown. He told Cody to come on down. And Cody, who is that? Arabian Night. Thank you, Arabian Night. I saw Suzuki on my screen. Cody's music hits. He comes out. Michael Cole on commentary. As soon as the Rocky sucks chant started hitting, which happened after Cody got into the ring, he said, is it 1996 again? We haven't heard those chants in a very long time. Who would have thought that in 2024, for as little as we get to see this guy, that when The Rock shows up, he would actually be serenaded by chants of Rocky sucks. But see, this is what happens when you piss off the fans and you don't give them what they want. When you're teasing it and teasing it and teasing it for months on end, and then you don't give it to them. Or it appears, because again, they didn't make it official, but it appears that you might be about to make a very bad decision. Maybe not a bad decision for your bottom line. I said that yesterday. I say, it may not be a box office blunder, but it is a creative blunder all the same. So even though they haven't said, this is the match for WrestleMania, the fans can see, because they're not stupid, they can see where this is going, and they're trying to communicate to you and tell you to stop. It's like you're about to drive into a fucking wall, and the pedestrians on the side of the road, they're waving, they're trying to tell you, slow down, stop, hit the brakes. They're trying to warn you before you make a very big mistake. Michael Cole on commentary said, unless you've been living in a cave somewhere under a rock, no pun intended, says, you know what's happened the past 3 days. He said, Cody has been trending worldwide on Twitter. If there's one thing this company loves, it's when they trend worldwide. There's been a few things lately that I think they would rather not trend for, but they love it when they trend. Rollins said he didn't think he was going to ever hear that. He never thought he was going to hear Rocky sucks. He was interrupted by we want Cody chants. He tried to talk again. He got stopped by more Rocky sucks chants. He said he understands what Cody's going through right now. He's been there. He gets it. But he says we need answers. Last week, he said the world title was the most prestigious title in the industry, and he stands by that, and the fans booed. The fans booed because everything that Roman Reigns said in that segment last week, sadly, is true. And the fact that he went out there and only reinforced it, I said it was a huge mistake on their part, doing what they did. That segment on Friday was so counterproductive in so many ways. It's almost difficult to see how that was even greenlit. So now Rollins, who's a babyface and who has the broken back and he's got a brace on his injured knee, he's done everything to come out here and be a fighting workhorse champion for these people. He's standing in the ring on his show. He's trying to defend himself. He's trying to defend the title around his waist, and he gets booed because people don't believe in what he is saying. They are not buying it. That this title is the title in WWE. That this title is the most prestigious title in the company. They're trying to spin this narrative that, Cody, you should go after this belt. This is the belt you want to be going after, and the fans aren't buying it. The fans aren't buying what they're selling. But if he's going to be perfectly honest, he said, he needs this match as much as Cody does. He's got to know that he's better than he was the last time they did this dance a couple of years ago. And the only way he can know if he's the best is if he tests himself against the best. And in his view, Cody Rhodes is the best in WWE. So, are you going to fight me at WrestleMania? Loud boos. Ball's in your court, Cody. You know what the fans think. But before he could give an answer, Drew McIntyre's music hits. And the Troll Master himself comes down to the ring. He says he thinks he speaks on behalf of everybody when he says, what the hell? He says Seth is the only other person who hates Punk more than he does, and he took him out. So they were supposed to be here talking about their main event match for the World Heavyweight title of WrestleMania. And the fans cheered. Because the fans would love to see Seth Rollins against Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight title because it means that Cody would not be in the match. This was hilarious. The fan reaction in this segment was the most entertaining thing on the entire show. More entertaining than anything else I saw in the ring or on screen all night. These people were sending WWE a very clear message here. So he said he even had the t-shirt commissioned for it, and he took his jacket off, and he revealed the greatest t-shirt of all time, which had a shot of him, or at least his face on someone's head, or someone's body, kneeling. And I know you've seen the meme, because he also had this meme the other day of him going like this, you know, the peace sign. This was not that image. It was a similar image. But he's kneeling over someone's grave, given the peace sign. And on the tombstone, it reads, CM Punk's WrestleMania main event 2024 to 2024. Fucking amazing. So Drew told Cody not to listen to Seth. Don't listen to this guy. He says, you need to finish your story. And the fans agreed with him. Said, think of everything he's done over the past year to get back to this point. He told Cody to not let his dad down. So he invoked the name of Dusty. Seth cut him off and told Drew, look, you don't have to be a prick. What in the world makes him think that if Cody denies his WrestleMania challenge, that Drew is going to be the one to get a shot at the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania? And he pointed out they've done this dance twice before, and both times Drew lost. And Drew accurately pointed out that Seth lost to Cody on 3 different occasions. Then he put Seth over and he says, look, you've done a tremendous job of making that World Heavyweight title mean something. He said, you know what happens in Roman's matches? He says, no one wants to fight for his title anymore because we already know the finish. He said his family is going to interfere every single time. You know, I felt like Drew McIntyre was truly the voice of the voiceless here in this segment. He truly inherited the spirit of CM Punk here in this segment. He said, that's the situation with the WWE title and Roman Reigns. He said, but with the World Heavyweight title under you, he goes, it's not about that. It's about may the best man win. But he told Seth, if he was a real workhorse, they would have shot him dead after his first injury. He said, now, 17 injuries later, you've done an amazing job of taking this title this far. But it's time for Drew McIntyre to take it from here. And then he dropped Rollins with a Glasgow kiss. Cody got a few shots in, and McIntyre, he punched him, he knocked him out of the ring, and ended the segment without giving us an answer as to what he was going to do. So still no response from Cody Rhodes, because of course they're going to wait until Thursday. They're not going to give it away tonight. We're going to have to wait at least until Thursday to see what Cody Rhodes is going to do as far as WrestleMania goes. This segment here was very good, even though we didn't get a lot of clarity on the questions that we still have. But it was very entertaining if you just paid attention to what the fans were saying and doing. And this was an entire WWE crowd here in St. Louis, right? And St. Louis is a pretty rich wrestling city, big wrestling city. And we're not just talking here about Twitter. We're not just talking here about Facebook and just social media. These are people in this building who came to the show and let their voices be heard. And I applaud them. I applaud the fans in St. Louis because I wasn't sure coming into Raw tonight what the actual crowd reaction would be when they went on the air. As vocal as people have been online, it doesn't matter if when they go to these shows, they just sit on their hands, or they go to these shows and they just kind of sit there and they don't chant for the people they want to chant for. If this is how people honestly feel, and it's not just a very loud vocal minority of people, you have to go to these shows. I'm not even saying hijack them, but just let these people know how you feel. Let them know that you are not happy with the decision that they are about to make. Or if they're even thinking about making that decision, give them a reason to second guess themselves and think, okay, maybe we ought to think twice before we move forward here. And I don't know if they will or not, but if they do, it won't be because St. Louis didn't put the effort in to try to make it very clear who they wanted to see go to the main event of WrestleMania. So I applaud them for that. We had a fatal four-way match up next. We had one on SmackDown Friday night. That was won by Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. Not Butch, as Michael Cole called him. at one point here tonight. But the winner of this Fatal 4-Way will go to SmackDown on Friday night to meet the winners of the other Fatal 4-Way. And the winner of that match will challenge the Judgment Day at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view for the Undisputed Tag Team titles. It was DIY, The New Day, the Creed Brothers, and Imperium. Pretty fucking good lineup of teams here. I think the future of the tag team division is in good hands with the Creeds and DIY alone. And they shined here in this match. The Creed Brothers, in particular, shined here in this match. It picked up after a break, after Xavier Woods made a hot tag, until Gargano cut him off with a slingshot spear. DIY hit dives on the Creeds before Gargano hit Imperium with a suicide dive. Julius wiped out a whole bunch of guys with a flip dive out of the ring. And as everybody was brawling outside and bunching up together, Tommaso Ciampa gave Xavier Woods an air raid crash from the middle rope, off the middle rope, out of the ring, onto everybody else, and wiped everybody out. And that led to a second ad break. There was a Tower of Doom spot where New Day brought down Imperium and Ciampa with power bombs. Brutus hit Kaiser with a moonsault, but the cover got broken up. Everybody traded moves until Brutus put Vinci in an ankle lock. And then Julius Creed started going nuts, as he is prone to do in these matches here, where he just starts suplexing people. I mean, he is throwing them around like they are weightless. It's incredible to watch. Almost Kurt Angle-esque in a way. Because Kurt Angle would have these fits where he would do that. He would pull the strap down and everybody would go nuts. So Julius is throwing people around. He gave, there was a double Northern Lights at one point. DIY did finally break up the ankle lock. Brutus wiped out a bunch of people outside with a Brutus ball off the top before hitting one on Vinci inside the ring. DIY broke up the cover. They hit Vinci with their meet in the middle finish, and they picked up the win here in this Fatal 4-Way to qualify for the match on Friday. Gargano initially made the cover, and then Ciampa shoved them off because he realized that he was the legal man, not Gargano. Some great spots here. The Creeds got over big, especially Julius, who, when the time is right, Julius has the potential to be a huge breakout single star on his own. But he was going nuts with those suplexes here, and the crowd ate it up. And we are getting, the big story here, is that we are getting DIY against Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate on SmackDown on Friday night. That is a takeover-worthy match. That is the kind of match you would have seen on an old NXT takeover. It would have been great then. It's going to be great even with the commercial breaks. It's going to be great on Friday night as well. And I can honestly sit here and tell you that I don't care who wins this match, because either way, I'm happy. If DIY wins another shot at Balor and Priest, great, because they already lost once. If they get a rematch, great. They should be eventually making their way to the top of the ranks and winning the tag team titles, whether it's from the Judgment Day or somebody else, I don't know. If it goes the other way and Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate go to the Elimination Chamber, it's a match we've not seen. It's a fresh match between them and the Judgment Day. I'm cool with it either way. So I'm looking forward to that match very much on Friday. Now, I mentioned DIY already lost on television. So last week? Might have been last week. To Balor and Priest. I don't think either one of these teams are getting gold soon. If it were up to me, DIY would get the titles at WrestleMania. I would build to them winning the belt at Mania. I wouldn't put them on them just yet. But I think what they may be doing here, and I actually kind of hope I'm wrong, because it's just not the team I would prefer they go with. But I'm thinking that we may end up with R-Truth and The Miz going to WrestleMania and being the ones to win those tag team belts from Balor and Priest. You know, this R-Truth stuff with the Judgment Day is obviously going somewhere. Either Truth and Miz are going to be the ones to take the tag titles from them, or Truth is going to in some way factor into this eventual Money in the Bank cash-in that Damian Priest is going to have, and I haven't figured out which it's going to be yet. But I'm kind of thinking that they may be going with Awesome Truth as the ones to take those belts off the Judgment Day, just the way things seem to be headed. Now, they're doing an Elimination Chamber match in Perth in a few weeks to determine a number one contender for Rhea Ripley and her Women's World Championship at WrestleMania. Tonight, we got our first qualifying match between Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch, who they mentioned has never been in an Elimination Chamber match before, which I did not know. I think Becky's been in pretty much everything else, right? She's won the Royal Rumble. She's been in Hell in a Cell matches. She's been in War Games match. She's probably done everything. Money in the Bank, probably. So this will be her first. If she wins here, this would be her first Elimination Chamber. Baszler stomped on Becky's hand into the ring steps before a commercial break. Becky fought back after the break, but Baszler caught her with a German suplex and a sliding knee for a 2 count. Becky responded with a missile dropkick. Baszler blocked a manhandle slam attempt and applied an ankle lock, which Becky was able to get out of, but Shayna went right back after the bad arm. Shayna went to the ropes and got cut off by Becky, who delivered a superplex, and then after landing, almost immediately transitioned into an armbar attempt, but Baszler blocked it, and she got a gut-wrench slam that got her a 2 count. Baszler tried for a Karafuda clutch. They traded counters until Becky hit a terrible-looking manhandle slam. This is what I fear the Rock Bottom might look like. If you send the Rock out there for a 15-minute long singles match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, if he attempts to go for a Rock Bottom, it might look something like this manhandle slam looked, which was not good. Barely got her up off the ground. It was almost like she kind of got her up and kind of fell forward with her. So that didn't look good, but she got the pin with it, and she qualifies for the Elimination Chamber. This is a good match, even if the crowd was quiet whenever Shayna went on offense. Next week, we're getting another qualifying match. It's going to be Liv Morgan going one-on-one with Zoe Stark. Becky has to be the favorite. I would say Liv Morgan is the dark horse here because she does have a bone to pick with Rhea Ripley. She's looking for revenge. Rhea is the one who put her on the shelf. So you can't discount the possibility that Liv Morgan could win the entire thing. I don't see it. I just don't. You know, they've been teasing Becky and Rhea. They've done these little segments in the back where they bump into each other. And so they've been building it for so long, and it feels like the big match that they should do, because there's no other match right now with the existing women in that division that I think would be as interesting or have the kind of appeal that Becky and Rhea would have. It's just the obvious match. I think it's the right match for them to go with. Speaking of Liv Morgan, Kathy Kelly interviewed her in the back. Liv said that she had almost a year taken away from her, and that was a very long time. She said next week would be about her revenge on Rhea Ripley when she beats Zoe to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. They showed a clip of Shinsuke Nakamura spraying the red mist in Cody Rhodes' face after Cody had a house show match the other night. And as soon as he came back through the curtain, this was over the weekend, he got misted by Nakamura, which is what set up the main event tonight on this television show. And as soon as I saw that clip the other day, WWE put it on their Twitter account. He walks back through the curtain, he gets sprayed in the face, and I said, oh, am I losing my mind? Are we going backwards? It's like driving your car up a hill. You're almost to the top of the hill. The top of the hill would be Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And you're almost there. You're slowing down, but you're almost there. And then, oh shit, the car starts to roll backwards. Are we going in reverse? I thought to myself, are we really going back to this shit? I thought we were done with Cody and Nakamura. Now we're going back to it again. But this time it was a bull rope match. See, they did a bull rope match at Madison Square Garden a couple of months ago, but they didn't air it on TV. But that was the setup for our main event later in the show. Backstage, Adam Pearce was scolding Drew McIntyre for taking out CM Punk and Seth Rollins, even though they were not medically cleared. And he indicated that he had fined McIntyre and that he also threatened to double that fine if he continues to wear that t-shirt mocking Punk. And at that moment, they noticed on the screen behind them, we heard the music, Rhea Ripley was making her way out. And Pierce looked surprised by this because she was not scheduled to be coming out next, and he was upset. And Drew told him to go out there and take care of it. Go take care of business. And so off he went. Rhea Ripley was in the ring for a promo, and she was heated. Probably because she saw the end of SmackDown on Friday night. But she was also heated because of what happened with Nia Jax previously, when Nia Jax attacked her and left her laying. And so she got all fired up, and she said she wanted Nia to come out. Adam Pearce came out instead, and he said, look, this is not the time. He got in the ring. He told Ripley that you will get Nia, and it will be for your women's world title, but it will be at the Elimination Chamber. Nia Jax made her entrance. Pearce left the ring. He tried to block her from coming down to the ring. She just shoved him aside. She climbed up on the apron. She punched Rhea when Rhea walked up to her. And then they started brawling. Pearce called for help from the back. He's waving security down to the ring. They pulled Ripley off of Nia, who hit a corner splash on Rhea. And then she single-handedly took out all the security geeks. Nia climbed up to the middle rope. She gave her another Annihilator and left her laying. Two women who were both born in Australia are going to be squaring off with the women's world title at the Elimination Chamber. This was another segment like the one last week, just to put some heat on Nia Jax. I thought it was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Rhea is going to be the most over person on that show. I don't know that they're going to put that match on in the main event. Nia Jax in the main event, one-on-one at the Elimination Chamber? No, thank you. But she's going to be a huge star. She goes back home. I mean, she's a heel, but she gets cheered here. How do you think she's going to be received when she goes back to Australia? So putting her in the ring with Nia Jax actually makes a lot of sense, because Nia Jax is good for getting heat because people, they hate her, they don't want to see her, they boo her. Now you go to Australia and you think to yourself, who would be the best opponent for Rhea Ripley? Really, it's Nia Jax. You're not going to find another heel in the women's division that will get the kind of heat that she gets right now. And to put her in the ring with a babyface, I mean, you could do it, but you're going to split part of the crowd, right? Or you're going to get Becky booed or Liv booed, and that's not what they want. So honestly, Nia is the ideal opponent for her on that show. You know, they're not going to fight against the reaction that she's going to get. They already know she's going to be there as the hero. People are going to love her. So why not put her in the ring with the biggest heel in the division? I got no problem with that. Yeah, there are people who are surprised by this, but Nia Jax was born in Australia. I don't think she spent too long there, but she was in fact born in Australia. It's a little fact that most people don't seem to know. I mentioned it the other day, and people were like, what? Did he misspeak? I'm like, no. No, she was born in Australia. We had Tozawa and Maxxine Dupri representing the Alpha Academy against Ivar and Valhalla. Oh, boy. First of all, Michael Cole on commentary was way more upset than he should have been that Valhalla did not come out with antlers on her head. This has been like a running joke now on some of these shows where if she comes out without the antlers, Michael Cole loses his mind. He basically is just mocking her at this point. It's not quite Flop Dollar territory where he would just bully this guy on TV every week, every chance he could get. But it's getting kind of close. Ivar caught Tozawa going for a dive in the ring and held on to him until Maxxine, her big spot, she dove off the top rope and landed on them, and they all fell down. That led to Tozawa getting a 2 count. Not long after that, Ivar reached down. He was on the ropes. He reached down. He grabbed Tozawa. He pulled him up, got him in position while standing on the middle rope for a World's Strongest Slam, and he slammed him down to the mat, and he pinned him, so he got his win back. Remember Tozawa got that upset over him, that upset win a few weeks ago on TV? So this was basically Ivar's revenge. Look, this match did not go very long. This match only went 2 minutes, but my God, Maxxine Dupri has no business being in the ring. I'm sorry. She is fine with Alpha Academy. She could be the cheerleader. She could be at ringside. You want to do a little brawl with her and Valhalla outside the ring, that's fine. There is a performance center for a reason. I'm not trying to be mean. I mean, this was very apparent at the Royal Rumble. It was very apparent in this match tonight. She just looks lost. She's very tentative when she's in the ring. She's moving around awkwardly. She's botching this spot, botching that spot. There's a performance center for a reason. And they're churning out talent like crazy, especially on the women's side, right? Tiffany Stratton just got called up to SmackDown. She's going to be a huge star for them. Jade Cargill's probably going to end up on Raw since Tiffany went to SmackDown, right? They have a lot of very talented females in that performance center in NXT right now. And I don't know if she's down there and we're not aware of it and she's actually still at the PC doing drills and stuff. I don't know. If not, she needs to be. Because seeing her in the ring, I mean, it's like a baby bird or something that was just born and just moving around awkwardly and doesn't really know where to go, what to do. I mean, I have secondhand embarrassment. I'm watching some of these spots in this match. I mean, when she came into the Royal Rumble on Saturday, I think the spot was a tilt-a-whirl head scissors spot with Bayley. That got completely fucked up. But what was embarrassing tonight, and the reason I had secondhand embarrassment was there was some spot, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was a spot here that she did, and again, it got botched. And she does this thing where she goes, "Thank you," right? She puts the two fingers up in the air and says, "Thank you." And usually the people will pop because the whole gimmick was she's being trained by the Alpha Academy. So when she had her first match, she did like some big spot. And then she did the thank you and everybody cheered like, hey, look at this. She learned to move, right? But if they're going to have her in the ring doing matches like this is just not going to work. She did the thank you spot and they booed. And I'm like, ugh. I don't blame the crowd for booing. But, yeah, I mean, it's embarrassing. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how long this feud is going to continue to go on for with the Vikings and the Alpha Academy, but they would be better off keeping her out of the ring as much as possible. Keeping her in another role, it's just not working. This doesn't have any business being in there. They had highlights of the Judgment Day last week, taking out R-Truth and The Miz. They come backstage live. Damian Priest and Finn Balor, they're in the Judgment Day clubhouse. And they're talking about their potential Elimination Chamber opponents. It could be DIY, it could be Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. They said, whoever it is, it makes no difference. They're going to go in there, they're going to win. Dominic showed up. He said that Rhea Ripley, she's okay, but she's just not very happy and she just needs her own space right now after what happened in the earlier segment. R-Truth showed up and acted like nothing even happened last week. And Truth assumed that last week was just a reinitiation. He thought that that's all that was, and he's still part of the crew. And JD McDonagh said, look, I'm about to go wipe the floor with your buddy The Miz. And he went off to go prepare for his match. Finn Balor said that there was no initiation. And he asked Truth what planet he's on before he just walked away. Damian Priest was about to say something to him, and then he just gave up and he said, you know, he let him stay in the clubhouse. He's like, make yourself at home. And he walked off. And Truth ended up, he looked down on the ground. There was a box of t-shirts. And all of a sudden, it's like the light bulb went off in his brain. He had some kind of an idea. That's how the segment ended. Yeah, I mean, Steven says you could tell Priest loves having Truth in this. Priest is the one who went to bat for him to keep the angle going. This was not meant to be some kind of long-term thing here. They did a segment together. It got over. Truth probably cracked them all up anyway. They probably all laugh whenever they are together in a segment. And he has said that Priest is the one who went to management and said, look, we got to keep this going. We got to find a role for him. We got to do more with him. So, yeah, Damian Priest loves it. It was his idea. We had JD McDonagh against The Miz. Miz got the better of McDonagh to start things off, clotheslined him to the floor. And he followed. He ran McDonagh into the barricade, caused him to tumble over into the timekeeper's area. Once McDonagh got back in the ring, Miz set up for a move. He got stopped by Dominic while the referee's back was turned. And McDonagh knocked Miz off the apron and into the announce desk. That took us into the commercial break. R-Truth made his entrance while McDonagh had the Miz down. And Truth had on, I think it was like strapped to his body. He had like a bucket or a box or whatever full of t-shirts. And he's throwing he's walking through the crowd and he's handing t-shirts off to people. He's throwing them into the crowd. Miz took advantage of the distraction and he played to the crowd. Miz did. While they were still distracted by whatever Truth was doing out there. So Miz set up for a skull-crushing finale. McDonagh avoided it. Miz sent McDonagh to ringside. Truth is still in the crowd. He sneaks up behind Dominic, who's kind of up against the barricade. And he puts one of the t-shirts on Dominic, but now his arms are restrained. And he can't move. And he ends up being dropped by Miz with a boot to the head. Back in the ring, McDonagh put Miz down, hit him with a top rope moonsault for a near fall. R-Truth hopped up onto the apron, and he presented McDonagh with a wad of cash. These were his royalties for the t-shirt sales. And McDonagh takes the cash. He's holding the money. Miz used the distraction to hit McDonagh with the skull-crushing finale, and he pinned him. And when the match was over, the announcers wondered whether Truth screwed up or if he did that on purpose to help The Miz. And they showed Truth. He was scooping up all the cash that went flying when McDonagh got dropped. So there you go. He's good for comic relief. You know, R-Truth is. And that t-shirt I know was like the #1 selling t-shirt the last few weeks. So I can't hate on Truth. But The Miz against JD McDonagh, what is there to say? We go from Tozawa and Valhalla. No, wait, Tozawa and Valhalla. Tozawa and Maxxine Dupri. Maybe if they did a wild card match, they would be partners. We go from that fucking match I just talked about to this. This was like this hour, this portion of the show. I was just looking at my watch going, all right, can we just kind of skip to the main event, please? Can we just get this over with? This is where the 3 hours just kind of smacks you right in the face. It was a show like tonight. We had Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. They were in the back. They wrestled earlier, but now they're all dressed up in their suit. And they're meeting with Adam Pearce, and they want to make sure that Pearce has everything set up exactly the way it should be for the big celebration coming up next. Because we are getting a Gunther celebration, 600 days. As the Intercontinental Champion, they want to make sure that everything goes perfectly. Pearce says everything is taken care of. There was a knock on the door, and in walks Braun Breaker. Now, if you watch SmackDown from Friday night, Braun Breaker met with Nick Aldis, and he was presented with a SmackDown contract. Adam Pearce showed up and told him, don't sign the contract. Come to Raw Monday night. I'll give you a better deal. And so Breaker came to Raw. Here's my question. We have Adam Pearce is like on SmackDown at will. Whenever he wants to show up, he's on SmackDown. How come Nick Aldis doesn't show up on Raw? Does Adam Pearce just do a better job of fucking boarding up the doors? Does he hire more security to keep this guy out of the building? I don't know. Pearce is showing up on SmackDown pretty much nonstop. How often do we see Aldis on Raw? Not very often. So Aldis wasn't there, but Braun Breaker was. And he asked Kaiser and Vinci if they had met Braun, which I'm sure they did, right, in NXT. So they left without saying another word, and Pearce started to go over the terms of the contract with Braun Breaker, but we never actually saw Braun sign the contract. But Braun Breaker is on his way. They had some sad footage of CM Punk just before and just after his surgery that he underwent on Thursday for his torn tricep. He came out of the surgery. He said he was in a lot of pain, which is not surprising because he's straight edge, so he probably doesn't take pain medication. So, yeah, you're going to wake up from a surgical procedure, and unless you've got pain medication or some kind of anesthetic or something, yeah, you're probably not going to be feeling too good. But he said he can power through the pain. He said the mental aspect is tougher than the physical part. And Michael Cole reiterated on commentary that he is going to be gone for a number of months. They didn't put a number on it because, honestly, it could be anywhere from 6 to 9 months. I think that's the typical recovery time. So We just don't know. It depends on how quickly his recovery goes. But again, you could tell that it's just eating him alive, that he was so close. He was so close to getting that WrestleMania main event and getting that match with Seth Rollins, and then just has it taken away from him. And there's always next year, if he can stay healthy. That's the question. Then it was time for Gunther's celebration. His Jubilee, as they called it, celebrating 600, technically today was 605, but 600 days as the Intercontinental Champion. The ring was decked out with black carpet, and they had 4 pillars in the ring, not the ones from AEW, 4 actual pillars. All 3 members of Imperium were wearing black suits. Kaiser introduced Gunther, came to the ring, got a big pyro celebration. Gunther told Kaiser, he goes, he really appreciates this whole big celebration here and what he's done for him, but he goes, I don't really want celebrations anymore. He said, it's a given. Doesn't matter if it's 600 days, 700 days, 800 days, 900 days. It doesn't matter. Says one thing that will never change is him being the greatest and longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. He said he's running out of competition. He goes, there's no one worthy of challenging him. And I thought for sure at that moment, after that little tease in the previous segment, that we were going to get Braun Breaker walking out, but we did not get Braun Breaker. We got Jey Uso, who came out to a big reaction. He got in the ring. Gunther mocked the fans doing Jay's pose. They called it he called it a simple gesture for simple people. Gunther said he eliminated Jay from the Royal Rumble, and he expected that Jay would want a word with him, but he said, this isn't the way. Interrupting me here during this segment is not the right way. So Jay said he meant no disrespect. He put Gunther over, and Gunther said he appreciated the kind words, and for his part, he put Jay over as one of the most decorated tag team wrestlers of all time. He pointed out that the Usos are the longest reigning champions in WWE history, tag team champions, and that Jay only had to put in 50% of the work for it to happen. Gunther, meanwhile, has achieved his accomplishment all by himself. So Jay said he's going to win singles gold in 2024. He told the crowd to say yeet if they wanted him to be the next Intercontinental Champion. And they said yeet. And they said Rocky sucks. Well, I didn't hear them say it, but I'm sure some people must have said Rocky sucks. So Gunther congratulated Jay for developing the courage to try to do something for himself after 15 years. He said Jay won't be the last person to make a name for themselves off of him. He said he would beat him so badly that he will long for the good old days when people could not tell him and his brother apart. Gunther's promos have really come along nicely. He seems so much more relaxed now and comfortable on the microphone. They didn't really have him doing a lot of talking at the beginning or even when he was in NXT. He wasn't a mute. I mean, he would talk, but you could just see his whole demeanor. He comes out there, he's smiling, he's having a good time, he's putting people down. It's great. His promos have really come along very well. So anyway, Gunther said once he was finally done cooking this man, he said, oos, and then he shoulder blocked him. In response, Jay tackled him to the ground, and Imperium pounced on him. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods ran out, and Imperium fled. And they made the announcement later on in the show that next week it's going to be all 3 members of Imperium taking on Jey Uso, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. So it looks like Gunther may possibly be working the Elimination Chamber after all. Again, by his own words, he should not be allowed to leave the country for a few more months. Maybe they were able to expedite things, or they could just as easily do the match on television the night after. I guess it would be 2 nights after. Because we've seen that a few times. We've seen Gunther left off the pay-per-view and defending his title on TV the following week. Just happened with the Royal Rumble. Right? I mean, he was in the Rumble, but they set up an Intercontinental title match with him and Kofi Kingston for the Raw after the Royal Rumble. Maybe they do the same thing with Jey Uso. They don't even do it at the Chamber. If he can't leave the country, maybe it happens on TV. But Jey Uso is not winning the Intercontinental title. Jey Uso may well win singles gold in 2024. He will not win the Intercontinental title from Gunther. Nor should he. I know he's super over. He's very over right now. People love Jey Uso. And they love doing his pose when he comes to the ring. Everybody's bobbing up and down like this. Every time I see one of those Ace of Steel videos that he posts on TikTok, Jey Uso is always in these animated videos going like this. He's got a new one out today for Cody. And there's Jey Uso. He's going like this, right? Everybody does the Jey Uso pose. He's not winning the Intercontinental title. He's wrestling his brother at WrestleMania. It's going to be Jimmy against Jey. And I think Braun Breaker is going to get Brock Lesnar's spot. He got his spot in the Royal Rumble. I think they're probably going to give all of his creative to Braun Breaker. I could think of worse things to do. If there had to be a plan B, I could think of worse things to do than trying to take this guy who obviously they have a lot pinned on. Braun Breaker is going to be a future WrestleMania main eventer. He's going to be a future World Heavyweight Champion. He's been ready to get this call up for a very long time. And if they want to try to just strap the rocket to this guy and launch him into the stratosphere, look, it may be too much too soon. It could backfire on them, but I can think of worse things to do. If they want to go in the direction of Gunther and Breaker at WrestleMania, play off the fact that the last person to pin Gunther was Braun Breaker. When Gunther left NXT, he got pinned by Braun. I think as a WrestleMania match, that would be fine. The Chad Gable thing, I mean, what can I say? I was pitching that idea for so long. There was such a great story there. We talk about stories so much. There were a lot of people. Cody Rhodes is not the only one with unfinished title stories in this company. Chad Gable's story is unfinished. Sheamus's story with the Intercontinental title is unfinished. Gunther has a lot of options for what he could be doing at WrestleMania. Braun Breaker being one of them. Braun Breaker, I'd be okay with that. We got a Shinsuke Nakamura video that aired with subtitles. He said Cody chose to fight him in a bull rope match because he thought it would give him an advantage, but he will just embarrass his family when Nakamura beats him in the match that his family made famous. And Nakamura said that he hears people saying they want Cody. He says, no. I want Cody. It's hard to take any of this seriously when he just constantly loses. Like, they're very well done vignettes, but does anybody take these seriously? I mean, I hate to say it, it's the Bray Wyatt thing, where Bray Wyatt would cut these promos and then he would go out there and lose. It's the same thing. When the guy goes out there and can't back up his words, it's hard for anybody to take him seriously. Like, I'm watching this and I already know exactly how the main event is going to end. So yeah, it's well done, but who gives a shit if there's no drama, if nobody buys into the fact that this guy has a prayer of winning this match. We had the Kabuki Warriors against Caden Carter and Katana Chance for the women's tag team titles. Kyrie went for some kind of splash midway through this match off the top rope. I don't know what the hell happened here. It looked to me like maybe Carter was just not in the right position. But Kyrie jumps off the top and just lands. I don't know what she was going for, but she didn't get any of it. Carter and Chance hit Asuka with their after-party finish, but Kyrie barely broke up the cover. They set up for the keg stand. Kyrie tripped Carter and then shoved her into the ring steps outside. Asuka kicked Katana Chance in the head and then held her for Kyrie to hit an assisted insane elbow to pin her and retain the titles for the Kabuki Warriors. Given the talent involved in this match, this was very disappointing. This should have been a hell of a lot better than it was. And the crowd, these people in St. Louis, they didn't care one bit about this match. They were stone cold for this match. So this was very disappointing. Earlier today, Jackie Redmond sat down in the stands in an empty arena with Sami Zayn. And she asked Sami what he was going through. What's going through his mind right now. And how much of it had to do with Drew McIntyre. So Sammy, he conceded that it has a little bit to do with Drew. Drew, of course, is the one who put him out of action. And Sammy also remembered coming very close to beating Roman Reigns. It was almost a year ago to the day. Can you believe it's been almost a full year since that Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in Montreal? And that big angle they shot at the Royal Rumble where Sammy took... We're not done yet. where Sammy... My finger slipped. Almost a premature ending there. But it's almost a year ago to the day that we got that Montreal Elimination Chamber match with Sammy and with Roman Reigns. And he remembered that, and he remembered what Triple H said to him when the match was over. People are like, what the hell was that? People are like, wait, it's over? It's over? It's not over. It's not over until I say it's over. We're not done yet. But he remembers Triple H pulling him aside when that match was over. And Triple H gave him a little pep talk and said, look, you got nothing to be down about. He compared Sammy to Rocky, called him the ultimate underdog. He said, look, Rocky didn't beat the champion in Rocky 1. But he goes the distance and he makes a name for himself. And he says, I did that. He says in the ring, he'll still fight like an underdog. He'll give 100%, but he's not an underdog anymore. He says, I'm a contender. I'm a contender, he says. And he says that he will be the champion. And she asked Sammy if he still felt like he had something left to prove. And he says he does. He wants to prove to the people who sit in these very seats that they were sitting in that they did not believe in him for nothing. And he said proving them right is what it's all about. The main event was a bull rope match, not a bullshit match like the one that we may end up getting at WrestleMania. That's pretty much any match that Cody Rhodes gets that does not involve Roman Reigns. We'll call that the bullshit match at WrestleMania. This was the bull rope match against Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, the last bull rope match that we had on WWE television, I can't say in WWE because they just had a bull rope match 2 months ago, Madison Square Garden. But the last one we got on television actually involved Cody's dad. And it came against Randy Orton at the Great American Bash way back in 2007. But he comes out here and there's no t-shirt, there's no jeans, there's no cowboy boots. Can you really call it a bull rope match if you don't have the t-shirt, the jeans, and the cowboy boots? Just wearing his regular gear. So they were attached at the wrist by a what we were told was a 16-foot bull rope that had a cowbell in the middle. Only one cowbell. We needed more cowbell. We only had one. And Michael Cole said that the bull rope was the same one that Dusty Rhodes and superstar Billy Graham used back in 1977. They went to a break not even a minute into this match. Cody used the rope to yank Nakamura repeatedly into the ring post. He went for a springboard move. Nakamura, though, yanked him down using the bull rope. Shinsuke was in control until Cody applied a figure 4 leg lock. Nakamura, though, hit him with the cowbell to break the hold, and that took us into yet another commercial break. Coming out of that, Cody hit a power slam and a disaster kick for 2. Nakamura hit a sliding German suplex. Cody, though, came back with a Cody cutter. Cody hit the jabs. He hit the bionic elbow. Nakamura, though, hit a spin kick and an inverted exploder. Cody responded with a pedigree and covered him, only got 2, so the destruction of the pedigree continues. I know this upsets some people very much, that the pedigree is no longer a protected move. See, in Triple H's mind, unless it's him who's hitting the pedigree, maybe he doesn't want anybody else to finish their matches with the pedigree. It's only effective when he hits it. If Seth Rollins hits it, if Cody Rhodes hits it, it just doesn't have the same effect. So Cody went to go hit Nakamura with the cowbell, but Nakamura misted him again. I'm surprised. I mean, Cody's going to be completely blind by the time this angle is over. Cody's going to be coming down to the ring to WrestleMania with the fucking shades on his head at this point. He keeps getting misted in the eyeballs. Cody, though, fought him off anyway. Even though he was half blind, he hit a crossroads, went for the pin, Nakamura kicked out. Cody then blocked a Kinshasa. He used the rope to low blow Nakamura. He yanked it up right into the genitalia, and he did that twice. And then he hit another crossroads, and he pinned him. You know, I would liken this Cody Nakamura feud to an empty bag of potato chips. You've eaten every chip in the bag, and you are fishing around for one more chip, and all you have left are little bits, crumbs. There's nothing left. The bag is empty. Throw it away. That's how I feel about this Cody Rhodes Shinsuke Nakamura feud. Let it be over. You finally got the stipulation match. This should be the blow off. You got the bull rope. You got the cowbell. Let that be it. The horse is dead. There's no sense in beating it anymore. It's dead. Leave it alone. After the match was over, Drew McIntyre attacked Cody from behind and then waited for Cody to rise to his feet, and he dropped him with a Claymore kick to close out the show. So now it looks like they're teasing the possibility of Cody Rhodes against Drew McIntyre at the Elimination Chamber. Now, I don't know if there may be another Elimination Chamber match other than the women's one they told us about. But until we get some clarity on what Cody's decision is, how he's going to utilize his Royal Rumble win, which we should know by Thursday, we're probably not going to find out until after that as far as if there's going to be a second Elimination Chamber match. But they could do a one-on-one match even with Drew and Cody at the Chamber. They could do whatever they want. They could do whatever they want at the Chamber. Fact is, Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble. So Cody Rhodes is not going to go on to fight Drew McIntyre for the right to challenge for anything. He already won the Royal Rumble. It would just be a match to do on the show. And they could certainly do that. Maybe they want us to think that they're setting up for a triple threat match for the title of WrestleMania. But again, it's for the title that we don't want to see Cody Rhodes challenging for. It could be the triple threat match that we don't want. It's going to be a lot of teasing and a lot of wondering going on, second guessing going on for a few more days at least until we get to Las Vegas. I think that Seth is probably defending his World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania in a triple threat match. I don't believe that triple threat match should or will include Cody Rhodes. I think that triple threat match is very likely going to include Drew McIntyre, as it should. And it's very likely going to include Sami Zayn. And I think that was the purpose of the segment, the purpose of the segment that we got earlier in the show with Sami Zayn. Sitting in the empty arena, contemplating things, talking about, he mentioned Drew McIntyre, and saying, I'm not an underdog anymore. I'm a contender. And he wants to prove to the fans, he wants to prove to you and me, that he can challenge for and win a World Heavyweight Championship. Seth, Drew, and Sammy, I think, is the play. The right play with Punk going down for the World Heavyweight title. I don't want to see Cody Rhodes involved. I don't want to see a fatal four-way with Cody and the three of them involved. I don't want to see Cody involved in this at all. Because that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for the story. It doesn't work for logic's sake. They can tease whatever they want. Seth Rollins will defend his World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania. It should not be in any form or fashion against Cody Rhodes. When we get to WrestleMania, whichever night the World Heavyweight title is defended, night one, again, we can sit here for another 2 hours and we can talk about and debate all the different scenarios that could play out with respect to Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and The Rock. I already outlined earlier some of the potential fixes to this situation, or what they might end up doing on Thursday. You could do Cody and Roman with Rock as the referee. You could do Rock and Roman. You can have Cody have second thoughts, because the groundswell of support that he has received from the fans have opened his eyes. Friends of his, colleagues of his have come to him and said, what are you doing here? You won the Royal Rumble. You've been waiting for this your entire life. Do it for Dusty. Go in there and claim your destiny and challenge for the WWE title. And so Cody thought about that long and hard. He's made his decision. He's coming for Roman Reigns. It's not that hard. It's actually a very simple fix. We're going to find out on Thursday what they're going to do here. Anything other than Cody being in the ring with Roman come WrestleMania is a fucking fail. I don't care what anybody says. The Twitter poll was not loading before for some reason, and it is still not loading. I'm trying to refresh it. I'm going to try to refresh it one more time here. Let's see if this works. If not, I will read the results to you. So let's see here. Now, it's not working. So I will read to you the results of this Twitter poll. Amazing. But I want to show you guys what the score is, and then we'll get into your super chats here. And you can vote at Solomonster if you want to vote in the poll. But right now, we have a total of 15, almost 1,600 votes in. 58.8% thumbs up, 41% thumbs down for Raw tonight. You guys are better than me, because I didn't think Raw was that good. But there you go. 58% thumbs up for Raw tonight, so get those votes in. Let me know what you thought of tonight's show. Well, that didn't show up, but this did. So now we get to go through all of your super chats. Thank you, by the way, if you have dropped one, or super thanks. You know, we've had a lot of content going up here on the channel the last few days. I have a whole video up from the podcast, episode 847. You guys got it first. That's why I always encourage you to listen to the full show first when it goes up. But you guys responded in a very big way, and that clip is currently up on the channel. It has over 50,000 views and counting, and it has something like 1,500 comments. I can't possibly keep up with all of it, but there is a very healthy debate going on right now in the comment section there, so go check that out, please, if you have not already done so. Orhan. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that tonight, but I will tell you that I would not be blaming the victim in this case. That is not a winning strategy here. But that's a topic that was it? Noel, thank you for the $2. That is a topic that deserves more than a few seconds of discussion. And it's actually a topic I talk more about on the podcast as well this weekend too. And I'm sure we'll be talking more about it in the future as well. Sohail, that was his first super chat. Thank you for the $4.99. The Real CS says, I honestly think WWE locked Drew into a new contract. With how hard they're pushing him, why would they spend so much time with him if he was leaving? That's a fair point. I mean, they are pushing him very hard, unless they're just trying to get as much out of him as they can, and then they're going to beat him on the way out. It's not a guarantee of anything. I don't know if he's put pen to paper yet or not. As of a couple of weeks ago, PW Insider said he still has not signed a new contract. But they are certainly operating with the expectation that if he has not re-signed, they think that he is going to re-sign. Hey, Nick, thank you. You are the man as well. Michael Pavone with the $9.99. So if Roman and Rock are doing Mania, what do you think the chances are of Cody beating Roman at Saudi Arabia or Madison Square Garden PLE, and they call the event Starrcade or something? Not very good. Not very good. It happens at WrestleMania. That's where it needs to happen. Hugh Jazz, is Triple H fanning the flames as an FU to TKO and The Rock? Triple H is not going to fan flames as a fuck you to TKO since TKO employs him and Triple H does not want to lose his job. So no, he is not fanning the flames to piss off the people who pay him. Hulkling93, Solo will probably get the return of the lame Smark City excuse for any town that boos Rock like we did when Roman was booed as a babyface. Is it Smark City or is it Bizarro Land? I know usually Bizarro World was Canada. They usually left it to the Canadians. They insulted them, but they've gone back and forth over the years with the different terminologies. Idaho Potato Demon. Holy shit, what a name. Idaho Potato Demon. And there he actually has a potato. Wow. First time super chat. Pitching a WrestleMania scenario. Says, Roman beats Rock, and after the match, the Bloodline beats down Rock. Cody comes down to save Rock. Roman starts trash-talking Cody and challenges him right there, and an impromptu match happens. Cody wins, and Rock raises his hand. An impromptu match with Cody is not the way to go. I'm trying to be nice. No. Idaho Potato, Cody Rhodes in an impromptu. It's like, that sounds like a Money in the Bank cash in. You can't do that with Cody. That would be awful if they did that. Now, if they wanted to do something on night one that led into a match on night two, so long as they promoted it in advance, that I can get on board with. But doing something the way that you laid it out there would be a huge mistake. I would not do that. Thank you for the $50 super chat bomb.
Yowie wowie.
That one's for you. Idaho Potato D. Actually, that sounded like a demon, right?
Yowie wowie.
There's our demon right there. Azen with the $13. Honestly feeling like I dodged a massive bullet not paying for tickets, airfare, and accommodation for the Elimination Chamber. The card is shaping up to look like shit. No Roman, no Punk, no Rollins, no Brock, and a Nia Jax main event. I told you, I can't imagine they'll put Nia in the main event. I mean, there are certain Rhea Ripley matches I could see being in the main event. Nia Jax in the main event of Elimination Chamber would just be a bad idea. Trey Johnson says, hashtag, we want Solomonster. Yeah, I would just start bringing those signs to the events. Let me see those hashtag, we want Solomonster signs at these shows. Maybe they'll put me in the main event. No cap. A Solo. I may be in the minority, but triple threat WrestleMania main events are my favorites. You also have a favorite triple threat main event. From WrestleMania specifically, a triple threat main event that I would consider my favorite. It might be WrestleMania 30. It might be Batista, Randy Orton, and Daniel Bryan. I thought that was an excellent match. Here's another reason why I think just history alone dictates that Cody Rhodes get his main event against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. We are coming upon the 40th WrestleMania. Think back to what happens every 10 years at WrestleMania. Think back to WrestleMania 10. Bret Hart and Lex Luger. They co-win the Royal Rumble that year. They both go to WrestleMania. They both have the chance to win the WWE Championship. The fans wanted Bret. They liked Luger. They loved Bret. They went with Bret. Bret was the underdog. Bret was the hero that all the fans loved. He wins the title. They're carrying him on their shoulders at the end of the show. WrestleMania 20. Triple threat, Chris Benoit, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. Benoit was the workhorse, right? Benoit was the guy that people who are fans of, work rate and match quality and who followed his career through ECW and WCW, they wanted to see Benoit finally win the big one. And he did. And he got the win to close out the show, him and Eddie hugging at WrestleMania 20. They're at the feel-good moment, which now is not so feel good to look back on. 10 years later, WrestleMania 30, what happens? The Yes Movement, Daniel Bryan, he beats Triple H in the opening match. He wins his way into the main event. and he wins the title. Here we are 10 years later. History is playing itself out the same way once again. And Cody Rhodes will be standing tall, or should be standing tall, at the end of WrestleMania with the championship. It's like destiny. Every 10 years. Why should this year be any different? Frankie Rodriguez. I'm a huge fan of Braun Breaker. I feel like he would be a staple on Raw, just like how Seth is then on SmackDown. Would it be a bad move to give him a monster push when he hits the main roster? No, I wouldn't call it a bad move. There's always the risk that if you take somebody new and you push them too fast too soon, especially as a babyface, which it looks like he's probably going to be a babyface, that it could blow up in your face. With Braun Breaker, though, he's very much like a Goldberg, and by that I don't mean that he's, very, very limited as far as actual talent is concerned. But Goldberg had this explosiveness about him that Braun has, where he goes out there and he just beats the hell out of people. And the people love it, right? The fans react big to those big power moves that he hits, the spear or the gorilla press, into the power slam. So I think if they handle him right and they are very smart in the way that they book him, and they book him in such a way where he's not the old Vince McMahon smiley babyface, right? You gotta smile more, or it feels like they're shoving him down people's throats. Yeah, I mean, Braun could sky's the limit for him. You could take Braun all the way. He could be a massive star in a short period of time. It really just comes down to the booking. So if they want to take a chance on Braun Breaker, I say go for it. It's never a bad thing to try to create a new star. Insert name here with the $5 super chat. A weird way to wake up. Find out that Rossi from Stardom has been fired, and Asahi from I don't know how to pronounce that, but yes, I did hear there was a young Joshi star who, I guess she was 21 years old, passed away, I believe, in an auto accident, so that was very sad. And the Rossi Ogawa thing with Stardom is also kind of wild. I mean, this year has been crazy anyway. You could just add this to the list of crazy stories, and we're barely 30 days into this month, or into this year rather. Apparently, he was fired from Stardom, and now he's gonna start his own promotion. He's just gonna start a new company, and he's probably gonna get a lot of those talents from Stardom to follow him. Kind of reminds me of the whole, when New Japan was formed. New Japan, All Japan. You had Giant Baba, you had Antonio Inoki, and they took certain talent with them. And it looks like that's what Rossi Ogawa is going to be doing. So that'll be an interesting story to follow, though. I still think Julia is going to end up in WWE, though. 8-9 Tech, even if all of this, he means, is a giant swerve, letting Cody go out there just to give up his dreams and his title shot is just stupid. Baby faces are so dumb. Yeah, I mean, no matter what they do, there's no excusing what he did or what they had him do. On Friday night, it just made him look like a total puss. I mean, there's just no other way around it. And now they'll have to figure out a way to, fix the mistake they made. I just can't imagine that if it was all part of the plan, they would go out there and make him just look so weak and so inept. And it's like I said, the biggest difference between him and Daniel Bryan from 10 years ago is Daniel Bryan had everything taken away from him, and Cody Rhodes just willingly handed it to somebody else. He willingly gave it away. Why would you do that? What did Rock promise him? Now, Rock is always posting on social media like he bought a car for his mom a couple of times. He bought a car once. I think he bought a house for Tamina. Like he's always buying things for people. Did he promise Cody like a new Cadillac or something? Is that what he whispered in his ear? Did he promise him like a giant lump sum payment of money? Did he promise now that he's a board member he was going to increase the pyro budget? Like, what did he promise this man in exchange for him stepping aside and letting him have Roman Reigns at WrestleMania instead. BCom see clearly, is Cody being too giving, aka too nice? Yes, he is. He's being a little too nice. Black Spine Records. If Dwayne main eventing WrestleMania is an Endeavor call and the fans boo the crap out of it, then maybe they will learn that they cannot just come in and change creative whenever they want. Ali says they had to mute the crowd for the main event. Tay the Savior, Solomonster, how would you save WrestleMania 40, unlike The Rock? Well, we've already talked about the different ways to try to save face here. I'm not going to go over it again. I just outlined a whole bunch of ideas for it. Beyond that, I don't think WrestleMania needs saving. I think there's enough other big matches and attractions on the show that WrestleMania will be just fine. Barry MK, maybe when Money in the Bank happens, Cody can win that and hand it to The Rock too. You know what? Maybe, yeah. Maybe Cody will win the briefcase and then he can give that to The Rock as well. Bender McSimpson, rank these overcomplicated messes on the road to WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan in 2014, Becky Lynch in 2019, or Cody Rhodes this year. I can't rank it because the Cody thing is still in progress. We don't know how it's going to play out. Daniel Bryan in 2014 is, to me, when I look back on that whole storyline, even though it worked out well in the end, to me, it is still the biggest overall creative just what the fuck. It was like such a gimme. Like they were being handed gold and they were like, nah, we're good. We're gonna go and take the silver that's over there. Or we see some bronze off in the distance. Like, dude, you have a slam dunk story. You haven't had, at that point, you didn't have a babyface that over. Just based on crowd reaction. I'm not saying he made as much money as Austin did, but like, this guy was getting reactions that, as a fan of 35 plus years, I hadn't heard since the days of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And yet, Daniel Bryan, by his own admission in his own book, said that even then, even within the last 2.5 months leading up to WrestleMania, he was slotted in 6th from the top on the undercard against Sheamus. You know, and to this day, there are still people who are like, it's the greatest storyline WWE ever booked. They had that shit planned from the beginning. I mean, these people are really delusional. They really are. The Becky Lynch thing in 2019 was absurd because Charlotte Flair did not have to be a part of it. They just had to get her in there. Right? We need Charlotte. We're going to make history. We're going to make history. The first women's main event. So we got to get Charlotte in there. Completely unnecessary. Joey Jojo Jr. I hate when people use "but it draws money" as an excuse for shit creative. We watch the show for entertainment, not to review WWE's business metrics. Well, especially when they're already making so much money as it is. But my response to that, whenever somebody says that, my first question is very simple. And you can ask them the same question too. Do you own stock in the company? Maybe they do. If their answer is no, then I would follow up with, why do you give a shit? And then they really just don't have an answer. Alex, hey brother, based on today's episode, it seems like they are taking it slow with the Cody Roman Rock angle. Do you think it is wise to prolong this and make fans wait even longer? I think it's fine if they want to drag it out, as long as we get to the correct destination. Because remember, they do have...
What about Kevin Dunne? Kevin Dunne.
Fuck Kevin Dunne.
JM with the Kevin Dunne $38 super chats. Right, fuck Kevin Dunne. John Moxley said it best. That might be my favorite super chat. Hey JM, thank you. And Anthony Hunt, thank you for the sub. Scribe. Who was I talking about? Was it Alex? It was Alex. Yeah, I don't. So to go back to what I was saying with Alex, they have 2 months worth of television, or just a little under 2 months, that they have to fill between now and WrestleMania. And the challenge is that with Roman and Rock involved, they're part-time at best. You're not going to get them on television on most weeks. So they have to come up with some kind of a way to keep people engaged. If they can spin this in a way where they keep people waiting and hoping that Cody is going to get the shot, but they don't really know, right? Let's say they don't give us clarity on Thursday, which I think they will. But if they wanted to carry this over into like mid-March, again, it could potentially make for some compelling television. So they don't have to tell us right away if Cody is for sure going to wrestle Roman Reigns. As long as we get to that destination, that's fine. If they want to drag it out a little bit longer, I don't think it's anything they need to rush into. Do I trust them to turn this into something that is going to be compelling? I don't. But I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach, and we'll see what they come up with. But no, I don't think you have to immediately announce it. Terrence says, maybe a Roman versus Cody match at MSG to sweeten the deal for Cody. I hate it regardless, but trying to make sense of it all. Grant, is a Rock versus Roman night 1, Roman versus Cody night 2 feasible? Why wouldn't it be? You could do that. Absolutely. You got 2 nights of WrestleMania. So if you want to do Rock and Roman on one night and Cody and Roman on the other, you can definitely do that. Arabian Night 2000. Excuse me. My goodness. Arabian Night 2000. Only reason it's in Vegas is because of the Super Bowl. That's a good point. That is a good point. We have the Super Bowl coming up this Sunday. By the way, feel free to leave a prediction for the Super Bowl if you want to chime in and let me know who you got. Is it Chiefs? 49ers? Let me know who you got. Base Beerus, God of Seduction. Cody saying he's going to take the title, but not at Mania. Doesn't that imply that Reigns beats Rock and holds it until he faces Cody? Spoilers by Cody. No, I just think it's stupid, and it just sounds like something that wasn't completely thought through. So honestly, that's how it came off to me. Party on Sparty, 18. Party on Sparty, 18. I have no idea who is leaving WrestleMania 40 with the WWE Championship, and I don't think WWE does either. They're just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks and doesn't get hashtagged. Well, I don't know. They're leaning into the hashtag now. They love their hashtags. Does WWE know where 41 is yet? There's been a lot of talk for a while about Minneapolis. Vegas, though, is a possibility. Vegas is going to get it. It's just a matter of which year. It may not be next year. It may not be the year after. I definitely think it's going to go back to Vegas. It hasn't been in Vegas since 93, right? Yeah, 93. Although in 93, it was Caesar's Palace. Now they have a big stadium they could go to. But either Vegas or New Orleans, I'm ready for that. Hey, Sean Francis, thank you for the sub. As I am choking to death here. Trevor, 2Z0. Trevor says, Maxxine Dupri is going to hurt herself or someone else sooner than later. But still, shucky ducky quack quack. I'm not saying take her off television. I'm just saying get her out of the ring. Because she ain't ready. I've seen enough to know that she is not ready. Manuel Macias, how likely do you think it is that Rock does the right thing percentage-wise? He has to be aware of the reactions, right? Will Tony Khan make a comment? Tony Khan made a comment about the Rossi Ogawa stuff. He was posting all kinds of memes and stuff. And again, it was all very, I don't know, it was all very vague and no context to it. He goes on these, like, Twitter benders sometimes, and it's like, you know what, whatever. There's more important things to worry about right now than what the fuck Tony Khan tweeted about Rossi Ogawa this week. Honestly, I don't really give a shit. Alex Schmidt, but yes, I to go back to Manuel's question, is he aware of the reactions? Believe me, he is very aware of the reactions. The Rock is hyper aware of people's reactions to pretty much anything he does. Alex, Rock being oblivious to how out of touch he comes across is no surprise. Can't even take a bite out of an In-N-Out burger without a PR team behind it. Both of those things, though, are true. He is aware of the reaction, but I think he also sometimes is oblivious to how he comes across. The In-N-Out burger thing is, yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. It's what I said before. I mean, he's less of a wrestler and more of a brand. I mean, everything about him is very, it just comes off as very staged and very pre-prepared and focus tested, you know, all that kind of stuff. And he's very mindful of his image, which is why I think, as awful as he came across to so many fans in that segment on Friday, it's hard for me to wrap my head around the idea that he would have been okay with that. Because he had to be smart enough to know what the reaction was going to be. Unless he was just so wrapped up in his own mind and the idea that this is going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread. How could people hate on this? And maybe the level of hate blew him away. But even he has to be looking at this going, how can I fix this? Because he knows that if this is not fixed, that he goes into Philadelphia one-on-one with Roman Reigns, it's not going to be good. You know, in Philly of all places. Not going to end well for him. Nick Grasso, I don't think they changed plans. And I think they are sticking with Roman and Rock. So at this point, I think it's just the false hope to think that they are going to change plans. But the death threats to The Rock and his daughter are terrible. Yeah, I saw The Rock's daughter, Ava, who is the GM now on NXT. She was tweeting like, guys, this has nothing to do with me. Don't yell at me. Don't come at me. She claimed she was getting death threats. I mean, again, there are times where wrestling fans will prove that they are just absolute fucking bottom of the barrel, and this is one of those times. You have a certain segment of the wrestling population that unfortunately are filled with people like this. And you see it on social media all the time, unfortunately. But they will rear their ugly heads every now and then, and you will see stuff like that. There's no justification for it. It's disgusting. It's uncalled for. It's stupid. Don't be like those people. Devin from NJ, will Solo burn his picture of him and Vince? Well, it's scanned in, so I mean, it's digital. But no. I'm not burning any of my old photos. I will, however, unfortunately not be able to look upon it in the same way that I used to. Base Beerus, Gunther should defend in the Chamber the only time a mid-card title was contested there. It was a shit show. Ryback won. The mid-card, there was a U.S. title elimination chamber last year. What are you talking about? Ryback? We actually had, I actually think it was pretty good from what I remember last year. We had a United States Championship elimination chamber match less than a year ago. Base Beerus, I think you're out to lunch. Hoffenheim, The Rock equals Hulk Hogan and Triple H. Well, let's not get carried away. Although I did say on the podcast, I said that you either live long enough to be a hero, or you live long enough to, you die a hero. I fuck it all up. You die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become Hulk Hogan. The Rock should not become Hulk Hogan. Donnie Yasu. If Rock and the powers that be refuse to budge, how do you think this affects The Rock's legacy going forward? His legacy? Look, I think it does damage to his reputation. I really do. His legacy will be fine. I mean, it's just, you want to talk about legacy and some of the things that we have been reporting on and talking about in the wrestling world recently. I mean, there are some legacies that have been forever tarnished. This is just it just comes across as a very self-centered, very selfish decision if they don't budge, and if in fact this is the match that they're going to do. And I do think that it will be a mark on him for a lot of fans. I really do. It's not going to ruin his legacy, but it'll definitely, I think, change the way some people look at him, for sure. Base Beer says the symbolism, Nakamura spitting in Cody's face. And he says, keep your finger off the switch, Dunne. I will try. I will try to keep my finger off the switch. Zeta, Cody is gonna lock in the Woe Lock at WrestleMania 40 while Cole screams, tap out, tap out Dwayne. Yeah, but when Cody wins, Cole can't say that it's a miracle on Bourbon Street. He's gonna have to come up with, maybe he can say, something about Swanson and Rittner, maybe, right? Is that where the ECW arena is? I know it's not the ECW arena anymore. Nick Garza, Solomonster, do you prefer a lyrical or instrumental entrance? Oh, that's a good question. There are great instrumental ones and there are great lyrical ones. I don't know if I prefer one over the other. Some of my favorite entrances were probably instrumental, though. So I would say instrumental. Forget the opening soundbite. Austin, Rock, Brett, Undertaker. You think of some of these entrances and they're lyrical. I'm sorry, they're instrumental. They're not lyrical, they're instrumental. So, if I had to pick one over the other, I'd go instrumental, man. Noel Mulligan, thank you for the $2. NWO Matt, do you think if Rock gets the Philly and we get Die Rocky Die chants? It is Philadelphia, so yeah, they've chanted worse, right? Didn't they boo Santa Claus once? Daniel Carr, hey bro, joined the stream late, so if you've already answered, I'm sorry, but is there a potential for Hollywood Rock if they decide to pivot? Everything is on the table. Anything is possible. I don't see it. I really don't think that it's the sort of thing Rock wants to do at this stage. So, unfortunately, no, I don't see it happening. The Mount Vernon kid, Christopher Bennett. I thought Bayley was going to screw the Kabuki Warriors out of their titles. No, I never thought that. Because I think that if they lose them soon, it would be at WrestleMania. I floated the possibility yesterday of maybe doing a Bianca and Jade tag team and they win the tag belts at WrestleMania. So I wouldn't take the belts off the Kabukis until then, at least. Mr. X, how about Rock against Seth Rollins? There's no need for it. If Rock is going to come back and wrestle, it would be against Roman Reigns. I have no interest in Rock against Seth Rollins. Why would you do Rock against Seth Rollins? What would be the purpose of that match? Mr. X, all you got to do is ask that question. What is the purpose of doing Rock against Seth Rollins? Or the story behind it, the rationale, the reason behind it. If Rock was going to come back and wrestle on a semi-regular, true part-time basis, which I doubt very seriously is ever going to happen, then yeah, you could maybe squeeze out a Rock and Seth Rollins match for the sake of doing it. But if he's coming back for one or two feature attraction type matches, Seth Rollins against The Rock, there's no reason to do it. 89 Tech, what's the most dumb babyface decision ever? We saw it on Friday with Cody. Base Beerus, the end of WrestleMania 20 still gives me chills. Yeah, I try not to go back and even watch it, honestly. It just bothers me. Isaac with the $3. I think WrestleMania, or by WrestleMania, Cody will finish the story. All this feels like a detour in booking to get fans to overreact. Trey Johnson, what are your thoughts on NXT Vengeance Day? I didn't see the entire show. I thought that the finals of the Dusty Classic was very good. It had Braun and Baron Corbin winning the cup. I thought the women's match was good, and I thought that the main event with Trick Williams and Ilya Dragunov was very good. And those crowd reactions towards the end there, especially for Trick, were tremendous, and it really opens your eyes about the potential that he has on the main roster at some point to be a top babyface in the company, even more so than Carmelo Hayes. They're very high on Trick Williams. You watched that main event last night, you can see why. I mean, Ilya Dragunov will take anybody to a great match, but Trick had his working shoes on. He was in there, and I thought he did a tremendous job in that main event. I really do. KC1324, was Cody giving up his WrestleMania spot different than when Cena cashed in his Royal Rumble win against Randy Orton at No Way Out, but eventually found himself in the main event of WrestleMania? Yeah. Is it different? Yes, it's different. John Cena did not just give up his shot. I mean, there's a pretty big difference there. JM with the $38 Kevin Dunne super chat. What assurances do we have that The Rock's daughter won't take Bayley's match at WrestleMania? I guess we don't have any assurances. We have to watch out and make sure that doesn't happen. I don't think The Rock's daughter is taking anyone's match anytime soon. I think she's the general manager on NXT specifically because they don't want her in the ring right now. That's why I think she's in that spot. Arabian Night, you see Vengeance Day. Very good main event. Ilya is fire. Ilya is fantastic. And yes, I did see it. The main event was very good. Hey, Benjamin, thank you for the sub. Welcome to the channel. Arabian Night, think it's 40% Cody versus Roman and 60% the other shit. How about you? 40% Cody versus... Are you talking about the possibility? Is that what those percentages are? I'm not sure what that is otherwise. I don't know. Right now, it's 50-50 until we see what they do in Vegas on Thursday. EA San Diego, I think Cody double pinning The Rock and Roman at WrestleMania is the way to go. Coming full circle to how Roman double pinned two guys now at AEW. No, we don't need a double pin. So you think that they would have Cody Rhodes stack him and pin him with The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? That's funny. EA San Diego, that's one of the funniest things I've heard all night. That ain't happening. Yuri, The Rock just needs a black eye to pull off the WrestleMania 9 arc. God knows it's one on all of our hopes. Well, who gives him the black eye, though? Who gives him the black eye like Hogan had his black eye? Larry Jester, if Cody wins and actually brings back the Winged Eagle, could you see him using a white strap like the IC? How do you feel about different strap colors? I don't know if you saw the Wrestle Rumble contest that we just had recently. The grand prize winner got a Nightmare Eagle belt, and it was in the style of the Winged Eagle, but it had the Cody Rhodes logo, the Nightmare logo, in the middle, and it was on a white strap, and I thought it looked great. So look up a picture of that if you didn't see it and take a look at that, because what you're describing is almost like that belt, and I think that belt looks incredible. Unfortunately, they love their giant logo belts, so I don't see it happen. But if he was to get his own custom belt, I love that Nightmare Eagle that Wrestle Rumble sold. Well, not sold, but they gave away in the contest recently. That belt was fire. Arabian Night, if Rock does a match after Roman, could you see Rock against Randy Orton? Boy, you guys are booking Rock in all kinds of matches now. We don't even know that The Rock can get through one match without getting hurt. You're booking him against Seth Rollins. You're booking him against Randy Orton. You're going to have him in the ring with LA Knight, right? They go back to The Rock Show the Hero on TNT. You could build off that history, too. You can do The Rock against AJ Styles. You could do The Rock against Gunther. Have Gunther chop the fuck out of him. Who else can we put him in the ring with? Who else can we put Rock in the ring with? Logan Paul. There's a match. Because we know Rock loves Logan Paul so much. Mr. X, purpose is to appease Rock's ego while keeping Cody. Well, maybe they shouldn't worry so much about appeasing The Rock's ego. That would be kind of nice if they didn't have to worry about that. You know, Rock's on the board now. And I would like to think that he has more than just his own self-interest in mind when it comes to this stuff. But what I saw on Friday night, I'm not so sure anymore. And Jazz Jackrabbit, after counsel with The Rock, Cody needs to seek counsel with Charlotte. He needs to figure out how the Charlotte in the Bank works and force himself into the main event. You know, I hadn't really thought about that. That's actually not a bad idea. And there you go. There you go. That right there is what Cody Rhodes needs to look into. He has to have a conversation with Charlotte. She's at home right now, convalescing from her torn ACL. Pick up the phone, Cody. Call Charlotte and ask her how he can get one of those. And then he can cash in his Cody in the Bank. And he can finish the story against Roman Reigns. I think that's a great idea. There you go. Forgot all about the Charlotte in the Bank. I can't use Charlotte in the Bank as long as she's out. That's not a bad idea. I mean, look, Cody obviously had some kind of pull. He was able to get Jey Uso from SmackDown to Raw. If ever there were chips for him to cash in, now would be the time. The only problem is Rock being on the board, he kind of supersedes him. So Rock is above him now in the pecking order. He has the Rumble. Josiah says he has the Rumble. Yeah, well, he had the Rumble a week ago, too. Didn't do him a lot of good now, did it? Get that Cody in the Bank. That's what he needs to do. Let's be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen,
oh,
it is
God,
now
look at
time
this.
to be the booker.
This is Cody's nightmare right here. Talk about the American nightmare. This is Cody's nightmare. Time to be the booker. The goal tonight was 400 likes. You have more than doubled the goal. You know why? You know why? Because you guys are awesome. That's why. You guys have been killing it for a week now. I'm going to have to up the goal. I'm going to have to make the goal 500 from now on instead of 400. You guys keep this up. Kangaroo with the $4.99. Love the show, Solomonster. Do you think if things get more heated with the crowd, will WWE switch and go with their OG plans with Cody? I hope so. All I can say right now is I hope so, and let's see what they do on Thursday, because Thursday they're going to have to make some decisions. They have a few days left to make up their minds about what direction they want to go in with things. All right, here we go. Tag team Be the Booker will kick things off. Oh, my God. Today of all days. Bret Hart and Bill Goldberg. I saw the comments that Bret made to some publication in Australia, and I don't have it in front of me, but of course he did use it to once again bash Bill Goldberg. Never change. That's why I love Bret. Never change. Bret Hart and Bill Goldberg taking on the Spirit Squad. You know, my hope, how I would book that match, I would have Bret. As soon as he tags in Goldberg, Goldberg gets in the ring, and Bret just, as soon as Goldberg gets in and has his back turned, Bret takes that tag team title belt and just whacks him in the back of the head with it. And then he and the Spirit Squad, they all team up together to just kick the shit out of Goldberg. That's how I would book that. A tag team booker fail. Goldberg would bury them all. Well, not if he gets a belt to the back of the head. All right, women's Be the Booker. We begin with Indy Hartwell. What does she have in her hand? Oh, it's someone's legs. Oh, it's a sidewalk slam. I'm looking at this picture. I'm like, what's going on here? And Booker, well, I mean, Booker's reaction there is, I think that says it all, don't you? Booker, enough, Booker. All right, Indy Hartwell. Booker T, I mean, calm down, man. Control yourself. Indy Hartwell, one-on-one with Zoe Stark. That could be a Raw match. They're both on the Raw roster. We can see that match on TV in a couple of weeks. You never know. And we go to the men. Men's Be the Booker. We're booking our own little cards here. This is not quite a WrestleMania card. We'll have to book a WrestleMania card at some point. All right, here we go. We begin with the Viper. Randy Orton. Randy Orton in our main event. There you go. That's how you book one half of your main event there. Now we just got to get a good opponent for him. Who's a good opponent for Randy Orton? We got almost 200 people here. Surely we can pick a good opponent for Randy Orton. Oh my God, it's Alberto Del Dipshit. Oh no. Oh no. Alberto Del Dipshit against Randy Orton. Oh, man. Well, unfortunately, not a great night for Be the Booker. But I will tell you that you guys came in so strong on the likes that to encourage you all, and because I love you for it, we're going to go ahead and book ourselves a completely different men's main event. We're going to wipe that off the map. We're going to pretend that didn't happen. And we're going to book a totally new match just because you guys doubled the goal for tonight. You deserve it. Give yourselves a you deserve it chant. Even though that's one of the chants I hate. All right, here we go. We begin with Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Hollywood Hogan. I guess it doesn't matter who I land on. We know who's going over. All right, Hollywood Hogan. Let's get the drum roll back. Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Hey, Andre Colo, you come in at just the right moment. Thank you for the sub. Hollywood Hogan against the immortal Hulk Hogan. Are you fucking kidding me? Hulk Hogan against Hulk Hogan. This is the replacement match that I book. Hulk Hogan against Hulk Hogan. You can't make this shit up. Yeah, you know what? That's a great question, Nick. Who goes over? I don't know. We have a booking crisis here. Who's going to go over in this? I don't think there's ever been a main event in the history of Be the Booker that we have booked that is going to have this level of backstage politicking going on over the finish of the fucking match. Who goes over? What if they both exercise their creative control clause? What happens then? I would like to know what happens at that point. Ponder that question. If they both exercise their creative control, what happens then? Amazing. What are the chances of that? I should have picked the stipulation. You know what? Hold on a second. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen.
No. Ignore that. Ignore that. I'm coming back here because we need to pick a stipulation for this. We need to pick a stipulation for this. If we're going to book Hogan against Hogan, we got to at least give it a stipulation. I still can't believe that. Hogan against Hogan in a buried alive match. I don't think I could have landed on a more appropriate stipulation. Everything about what I just booked is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Two men who will absolutely try to bury the other. You could not come up with a better stipulation than that. There you go. I told you we had to pick a stipulation, and we landed on the perfect one. Now I don't feel so bad about how things went in Be the Booker. I think that was very appropriate. Yuri. It might be. It might be the best Be the Booker that we've ever booked. It's definitely in the top 3. It's got to be top 3. Hogan against Hogan in a buried alive match. Yuri says, so if Be the Booker gets Rock versus Roman, is it a dub? Well, Rock and Roman are in there, so it's possible. 89 Tech, if we get Cody against Roman, is this the biggest swerve? Where's the swerve, though? I mean, Cody went on television and said, I'm not wrestling you at WrestleMania. So you tell me, where's the swerve? I want to know where the swerve is. Arabian Night, a few minutes ago, PW Insider reported that Rock versus Roman is still 100% the plan, and there is no scenario where it doesn't happen. Well, you know what then? They're in for a rude awakening. Good luck. Good luck is all I'll say. Base Beer is, what is that Bret Hart super chat with the guy in the chair? Oh, the guy getting electric shock therapy? That's from Wrestling with Shadows. Mr. X, Rock's selfish, but he's not Hogan piece of shit level yet. He needs to victim blame a vet that's crippled by his kid and have a sex tape with Kevin Hart's wife. That's true. That's true. He hasn't quite reached Hogan level yet. Base Beerus, he came in like a wrecking ball, brother. And Chris Mikesell, is the post-press conference a new thing? I remember WrestleMania 4th press conference when they asked Tyson, or WrestleMania 14, not 4. WrestleMania 14, when they asked Tyson if he would be up for SummerSlam that year. I remember that press conference. Shawn Michaels was meeting with Shane McMahon in the back of the room, and I think he was very upset over something. And then he walked out. And Near, do you think the U.S. ever moves to the metric system? No. No. Well, let me take a look here, because I do want to see if PW Insider has any information up on this whole situation coming out of tonight's show. And I don't see anything. But I do, however, see something here from... Well, that's from CM Punk's interview earlier. We already saw that. All right, well, there's nothing new on that. Look, you're going to hear a lot of things. You're going to see a lot of things. You're going to hear reporting from Meltzer and PW Insider and Fightful and all these different places and Twitter. And I will tell you to wait until Thursday, because when they go to Vegas for this press conference, we're going to get a better sense of exactly what direction we're headed in here. If they're locked into their vision and there's no changing plans and we're getting Rock and Roman and that's the end of it, if they tease the direction for Cody, you watch the end of Raw tonight, it looks like Cody is being incorporated into the World Heavyweight title picture. And yet they were not hiding from the reaction at the beginning of the show when people were booing the idea of Cody wrestling for the big gold belt. So I don't know what's worse, the fact that they did what they did on Friday, or the fact that they may actually lean into it and acknowledge it and wear it like some kind of badge of honor and still say, fuck you, and move on in a different direction anyway. To me, that would be even worse, to just throw it in people's faces like that. So this is a developing situation. Nobody knows anything until we get to Thursday and we see what they do. And the fan reaction at the press conference will be very interesting as well. They have to know that there is going to be a contingent of fans there that are not going to be happy about anything other than Cody getting his shot to finish the story. How they handle it will be a very telltale sign about where we are headed for WrestleMania this year. But the next time I am live with you will be Wednesday night. We're not talking about Cody. We're going to be talking about AEW Dynamite, which kind of seems like, honestly, an afterthought in the grand scheme here with all this news going on that, for better or worse, is all kind of hyper-focused on WWE. But there is stuff going on at AEW. In fact, Sting is wrestling for the tag team titles on Wednesday night. So I'll be live after Dynamite. I'll be live on YouTube on Friday night after SmackDown. By then, we will know what happened on Thursday, and then we can talk about it. So this will continue to develop. I've made myself very clear about what I think they should do and should not do. Doesn't mean they're going to do it, but I've stated my case, and now we wait and see. John Good says Mike Johnson also said that, and then said Roman could work both nights. And that's one of the things that I talked about, that Roman works Rock. And just because he works Rock doesn't mean he's not working Cody. But the idea that you're going to get Roman Reigns, the part-timer, who doesn't even work every pay-per-view, and he's going to work twice on one show. I mean, it's technically one show. If you think about WrestleMania as one big show. The idea of him working twice, back-to-back nights at WrestleMania is kind of funny. But, yeah, that is one potential fix to the situation. TK Banks, according to Ace Steel, WWE wants CM Punk to do commentary. I can see him go to NXT since Booker T may be out for a while. Yeah, Booker T is having some kind of a medical procedure done this week. He missed Vengeance Day. He's going to miss NXT this week, and I believe next week as well. They had Wade Barrett fill in last night at Vengeance Day. Punk, I think, would be great on commentary. It's just, do they want to keep him out of the public eye for a while and then build to a big return, or do they want him on television doing commentary? I think he'd be great at it. Arabian Night, to continue on, PWI believes that with the shock of The Rock's appearance wearing off, they now have several weeks to adjust to make it make sense. So that's 3 different Super Chats where I have been told claims that PW Insider is saying 3 completely different things. This is what I mean when I tell you people, you're going to hear a lot of things these next few days. None of it matters until Thursday. So please, just keep that in mind. I'm already getting conflicting reports here. And Yuri. If they can't tell, it should be Cody. That's all the money they make in their ears. Yuri, thank you, man, for all the Super Chats tonight. And Chris Mikesell. What if the crowd chanted, "Die, Rocky, die"? Give it time. They might. You know, WWF when they were WWF, used to sell that on t-shirts. I know because way back when I bought one. It was a red shirt. It was red like this. And it just had the words Die Rocky Die on it. They didn't sell it for very long, though. And I don't have it anymore. But at one time, they actually sold a t-shirt that said that on there. Of course, they wouldn't do that today. Nor would I encourage them to do so, since apparently The Rock and his daughter are getting death threats from the fucking psychopaths out there. Probably better off you don't do that. The Dada and Boys podcast, doing a stream covering the press conference. We'll wait and see. It really, I don't know what kind of news will actually be broken on there. It's possible I may decide to go live, immediately after if there's something newsworthy to talk about. But I don't want to guarantee anything until I actually see what happens at the press conference. Best thing I could tell you on that, honestly, is follow me on Twitter. Because if I decide to go live, that'll be the first place I'll let you guys know. And if you're on the channel and not subscribed, now would be a good time to subscribe. Make sure when you do, by the way, or if you're already subscribed, that your notifications are on. So hit that bell, make sure all notifications are on. That way, if I go live or I post something new, you will be alerted. For those of you who are not on social media. Arabian Night says the source, Cage Side Seats, has the PWI report. Well, I just go directly to PWI to see if Mike Johnson said anything, and I don't see anything new there, so. But thank you for the clarification. If Rock gets himself booed, there goes his presidential campaign. Well, he claims he's not going to run. But see, that's what they all say. They all say, no, I'm not going to run. I have too many skeletons in my closet. I don't know, I feel like I'm better off doing what I'm doing now. And I mean, Rock's older, but he's not exactly old. So he says he's not running now. That doesn't mean he wouldn't run in 2028. Maybe he whispered into Cody's ear, I'm going to run in 4 years and you'll be my running mate. Maybe people have talked about Cody going into politics. Cody himself has talked about going into politics when he's done wrestling. He wants to be a senator. Maybe Rock promised him to be his running mate. Cody can be Rock's running mate when he runs for president in 2028. Would you vote for that ticket? Would you vote for the Rock Cody ticket if they ran? That's true. Cody already solved racism in AEW, right? He's an amazing guy. He can make that his entire platform. He eradicated racism single-handedly. Anyway, thank you guys for all the love tonight. You killed it on the likes, so keep hitting that thumbs up on your way out. Buck's Basement. Buck's Basement. Just dropped 5. If they don't fix this, if WWE thought the St. Louis crowd was bad, they don't want to know what Philly will do to that match at WrestleMania. Yeah, it's going to be bad. And they have to know that. I mean, I can't imagine they don't realize that. And so they'll have to come up with some fix. Otherwise, it ain't going to be pretty. And you're going to end up ruining a match that there are people who want to see this match, and you're going to ruin it for them too. Because people are going to take it upon themselves to just make it all about them and make noise and boo and heckle and, nobody wants to see that in the WrestleMania main event. The Dada and Boys podcast. How often do you buy WWE merch? I just got Drew's tee. Do they have the Drew t-shirt up on WWE Shop? That's funny. It's funny because Adam Pearce threatened to double his fine if he saw him wearing that shirt again. So now they're selling it. So now all the fans can come to the arena wearing that shirt. Is he gonna fan all the fines? Is he gonna fine all the fans if he sees them wearing the shirt in the crowd? I don't buy WWE merch very often. Every now and then, if there's a cool design on a t-shirt, I'll buy it. But I don't buy WWE merch very often anymore like I used to. Am I going to play 2K24 when it comes out? Probably, yeah. We'll probably revive Sound Off Gamer for 2K24. Yuri, side note, can't believe how WWE made Nakamura just the guy. He's been just the guy for years. This is not a new thing. All right, I'll see you guys Wednesday night for Dynamite. Be well. Stay safe. Go check out episode 847 of the podcast if you missed it. It's a hot one. Hot, hot, hot. I'll see you on Wednesday night.